Hello, good evening. This is Vincent from Yates Academy. I hope that you're doing well. I am currently at the Düsseldorf Boat Show. I'm very excited to start this webinar with all of you together. So I have very exciting news. We are a lot of people signed up today. We have 147 people that signed up to today's webinar. This is very exciting. I'm super proud of all of you for signing up and joining today's webinar. So we will start exactly at 6 p.m. GMT plus 1, 5 p.m. GMT or noon Eastern time. And we already have 24 people here. If you can hear me, would you mind typing 1 in the chat? If you can hear me and see me properly, please type 1 in the chat. So please type 1 in the chat box if you can hear and see me properly. Excellent. Hey Trevor, how are you? So let's see who we have so far. We have already 40 people. We have Dominic. Hi Dominic, how are you? Great to hear from you. We have Robin, Scott, Tommaso, Igor, John, Kiko, Charles, Rufino, Bill, Guy, Stefan. Hey Stefan, how are you? Andre, Trevor, Peter, Lou, Jim, Jonathan, Dennis, Paul. Wow, glad to see all of you guys. Nathan, Rob, Stephen, Jonathan, Suzanne, Nicholas, Simon, Chris, Steve, Martin. More and more people are showing up, and we will start exactly in let me look at my time, in 5 minutes. So I know some of you are in boat show season right now, like myself at the Düsseldorf Boat Show. Okay, so today we'll have a webinar of around 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and we'll have some Q&A at the end. I'm very excited. I got some great things that I want to share with you. And I want to talk about what's going on in the boating industry today. I want to talk about more specifically the trends that are going to affect our market in 2019. So this is extremely exciting. And we have more and more people coming. And so let me know if you can hear and see me properly. Please let me know in the chat. No visual. Can you guys see the screen? Can you see the screen with the title? I know I don't have my webcam because the camera is not that good and the lighting is not that good in the hotel room here. We don't have very good Wi-Fi either. Okay, you guys can see the screen with the slides, which is very important. So I'm very excited about that. Excellent. Okay. So we'll start in exactly 4 minutes and we'll talk about 5 trends that are going to change the yachting marketplace in 2019. Now already changing the marketplace. So please pay attention today. Take some paper, take some notes, grab a glass of water, turn the phone off and pay attention because it will affect you directly. So you need to pay attention to take some decision, and I really want you to get the best out of today's webinar. So it's almost 6 p.m. in Germany. I spent the day at the Düsseldorf Boat Show. We had a great day and I came back to the hotel and we are ready now to launch our webinar in exactly 2 minutes. So let's wait. Let's see how many people are live. We already have more than 50 people live. That's fantastic. Jerry, Robin, Ethel, Scott, Kiko, Shaw, Maureen, Scott, Bob, Rufino, Bill. More and more people are coming. Rudy, how are you, Rudy? Nathan, Todd, Rob, Stephen, Jonathan. Excellent. Rob, it seems to be a problem with your computer because everyone else is able to hear me. So if you would like to maybe check your settings, and we'll start in exactly 1 minute. Excellent. So I'm glad to see that everyone can hear and see the slides. So without further ado, let's get started. The future of boat sales in 2019. 5 trends that are changing the yachting marketplace today. So as I told you a couple minutes ago, I need your attention. I want you to turn off your cell phone, get out of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Please pay attention. The next 45 minutes are going to change your career. It's not every year that some major and significant changes are happening in the industry. This is happening right now, and I really need you to pay attention. We're going to look at some amazing trends, going to give you some amazing strategies that you can already adapt to get the best results. So please pay attention. We have over 150 people registered today. I saw that 65 of you already are live. So congratulations for all of you that came live. Let's focus now. Let's spend the next hour together and deliver those great trends. Now, for those of you that will stay until the end, I want you to stay until the end. I will give you some bonuses. I will give you a free training, 7-day board sales transformation. I'll send you the full PDF with all the video and everything. And I will also give you the slides presentation. So please pay attention. So today webinar, here is what we're going to learn. I wanted to dissect the article that I recently wrote about the 5 trends in the boating industry. A lot of people send me feedback. A lot of people made a lot of noise in the industry, and I wanted to deliver more in regards to this article and guide you on what exactly you need to do to improve your boat sales this year. So trend number 1, we're going to see that traditional boat sales is dead. Before the explosion of mobile devices, social media, and a multitude of major channels, it was much easier to sell boats. You were just placing a listing maybe on a multiple listing site, boating magazines, or sending a newsletter. But in today's multi-channel and oversaturated environment, this is becoming obsolete. So what can you do to adapt? That's exactly what we're going to discuss in trend number 1. Trend number 2 today, emotion sales and referrals are key. I absolutely love this section. I want you to pay attention. I was working until midnight last night working on that content for the second trend, so please pay attention. Emotion, not fact sales. Okay, we're going to see that in detail. I will show you why customer-oriented and emotionally compelling content will bring trust, and trust will become the new currency in 2019. Pay attention to this trend number 2. Trend number 3, information sales. The more you tell, the more you sell. The more your listing tells, the more it will sell. Your customers are becoming more exigent. The market is switching online as you know it, and your customers want more control, but also more information. So it's your responsibility, if you want to sell more, to provide them with a more adequate information. Trend number 4, we're going to talk about the switch from a single practice. Selling boats was more an individual practice a few years ago, and is progressively transforming it into a team work, a team environment. It takes a team, okay? And we're going to analyze the death of the traditional lone wolf brokers and the rise of the super profitable brokerage team. Trend number 5, authority and personal online presence are an absolute necessity today and not optional anymore. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, before we jump in, I just want to take 1 quick minute to tell you exactly who am I, where I'm from, and why you should listen to this presentation. My name is Vincent Finetti. I'm a serial entrepreneur in the marine industry. I'm the founder of Prestige Vision, which is a marketing agency in the yachting industry. We've worked with over 300 shipyards over the last 10 years, from small Boston Whaler boats up to 300 feet Lursen yacht. So over 300 shipyards worked with us and asked us to help them in sales and marketing. Also, 4 years ago, I decided to start Yacht Sales Academy. Since then, we've enrolled over 525 yacht sales professional, boat sales professionals, and students worldwide. And as of today, we have over 5,000 subscribers to our newsletters. I'm also partner in a brokerage firm called Breeze Yachting.Swiss. I went back into boat sale last year after 10 years, and in these first years, we did more than $15 million in sales, which is excellent considering a break after 10 years. So I don't just teach theory, I also do practice, and this is why I want you to pay attention today, because those are the same techniques that I will share with you today that we used last year and we have been successful with those. So as you saw in my quick story, I became obsessed with learning how to sell more boats and have since spent thousands of hours gathering the best proven info, techniques, and methods. And today, here is what I want to do. I want to summarize the absolute best for you. And I learned this stuff the hard way. It took me a lot of time, a lot of practice, a lot of investment. But today, I want to serve that to you on a silver platter. And I'm going to give you my prediction and share some of the best strategies to start another great year. So are you guys excited? Let me know in the chat if you're excited. Type 1 if you are excited in the chat. I want to make sure everyone can also still hear me and see me properly. Let me know in the chat. Excellent. Okay. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in. 5 trends changing the marketplace in 2019. There is lots of shifts coming in our industry this year. Probably this year with some of the biggest shakeup and transformation yet. Okay, our industry is going through some of the biggest transformation in the last 50 years. Due to the exponential growth and dominance of what? Internet, mobile device, social media, new technology, combined with also not only the change in technology, but the rising expectation. Customers' expectation are growing. They're changing, their buying behaviors are changing. And the rules of sales and marketing have drastically changed across markets. Now, as a boat sales professional, we must adapt or we will get left behind. Okay. And 2019 is going to be a game-changing year. And I'm going to share with you the 5 predictions for this market. Now, before I want to share with you a quick story. Okay. In 1956, long before Tinder and Match.com, there was a single Swedish sailor named Eke Viking. And he wanted to take his search for love to the sea. So here's what he did. He took a bottle while he was at sea on a ship, and he wrote a love message inside. He said, to someone beautiful and far away. And then he addressed it, he put his address on it, and he put it in the middle of the sea. And he waited, and he waited. And then 2 years later, Eke's message was answered by a Sicilian woman named Paolina. She replied, I'm not beautiful, but it seems so miraculous that this little bottle should have traveled so far for so long to reach me that I must send you an answer. So they started corresponding. And now that correspondent ended up a year or a few months later by Eke moving to Sicily to marry his lucky match made by the sea, Paolina. Why I like this story and why I wanted to share this story? Because it reminds me of how many brokers are still selling boats today. They get a listing, they toss the listing in a little bottle, which is, let's say, a multiple listing site, and they pray for a miraculous buyer, throwing it in the old-fashioned ocean, waiting for some miraculous buyer to come. And I call that boat in a bottle marketing. And it's a big waste of time. It's a big waste of money, big waste of effort. Now, don't get me wrong. It worked a few years ago when there were fewer multiple listing sites, when there were fewer boating magazines, when there were fewer marketing channels. But today, your prospects are scattered across thousands of different channels. Like what, for instance? Websites, social media, YouTube, podcast, magazine, newspaper, apps, multiple listing site, boat shows. classified ad sites, and on and on and on. It's an ocean out there. And yet some brokers are still tossing listing into the ocean like acre. Okay? So we need to adapt. We need to absolutely adapt. So here is a trend number one. I want you to realize that there is a need for adaptation. We cannot sell boats the same way that we used to do before. Because there is so many channels. You cannot just go on Yachwood and put a listing. You cannot just send a newsletter and wait for miraculous things to happen. It's your responsibility to learn the new channels. It's your responsibility to adapt to today's market. Okay? And going forward, the successful marine salesperson will have to become what I call an hybrid broker that is using multiple media and multiple communication channels. So I like to say that Facebook, Google, Instagram, and YouTube are the new Yachwood. You can write that down because this is very powerful. Facebook, Google, Instagram, and YouTube are the new Yachwood. If you think about it, a few years ago, you were receiving a lot of leads coming from mainly from Yachwoods, but nowadays I have a big group on social media on Facebook with over 1,000 boat sales professionals, and I asked them, out of your last 10 sales, where did your leads come from? You wouldn't believe the number of brokers that are telling me that half of their sales are coming from Facebook, for instance. Okay? It means that there is a big adaptation that needs to happen. Okay? So there is some big change that need to happen. And this is why we're doing this webinar, to understand those changes. Okay? Now remember, people are not on social media to buy a boat, but people who are buying boats are on social media. Don't get me wrong. You need to understand the dynamic here. So therefore, the typical brand advertising and marketing to everyone is now too expensive and become less and less effective. What's working today? Segmentation, retargeting, social media conversation. This is a new way to reaching buyers. Now, what's the bottom line? You need to know how to reach your potential clients and their preferred media channels. You need to be present in those news media feeds, social media feeds, because their email and their phone number is just not enough today. Also, you'll need to leverage Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, for instance, and other communication channels. You don't need to be an expert marketer. You don't need to understand everything, HTML and retargeting and this and that. You just need to be where your customers are. And if you just do this, you will get amazing results. Pretty much every week, I'm getting social media now for boats. And it doesn't cost anything. You just need to discuss a little bit and you just need to engage in conversation with them. And I'm going to show you exactly how at the end, okay, in the trend number 5. So brokerage and broker who invest the time and money into developing social conversations, relevant content, and communicate through different messaging communication will create the most powerful connection. And their audience and such connection can be used to what? Influence people into becoming clients. Okay? So trend number 2. Sorry, looked like the internet just got frozen a little bit. So trend number 2, let's talk about emotions, because this is critical. And I'm at the Düsseldorf Boat Show. I'm looking at all the boat builders, and it's so competitive out there. It's so competitive, and majority of them, they are competing on the rational level, on price, on specs. But guess what? There is a huge opportunity in the emotional level. So I want to spend 2-3 minutes to discuss that with you guys. For thousands of years, people believed that Earth was the center of the universe. And it was called the geocentric model. And it was a predominant way of thinking until the 16th century. Now, this first big challenge of this model came with the invention of the telescope. And in 1609, Galileo challenged his geocentric paradigm and proved that we were actually living in an heliocentric model. Okay? Now, just like the geocentric paradigm was challenged by technology and the invention of what? Of the telescope, our understanding of the human mind and the way we make and process decisions was also discovered by technology. And what was this discovery was actually the MRI. So we went from an Aristotle model, because since ancient civilization of philosophers and scientists, I'm sure you've heard that before, made huge effort to understand how our mind works and how we make decisions. And back then, everything was about reason and logic and rational. That was at the center of our decision-making process. It was actually the Aristotle model. But since 1995, and since the invention of the MRI, scientists discovered that logic is no longer at the center of the sales universe. Okay? MRI technology clearly revealed that emotions were at the center of a decision-making process. In other words, we are not thinking machines that feel, we are what? Feeling machines that think. Now, why I'm sharing this information with you? Because this is so critical if you want to sell boats today. Feelings and emotion governs our decision. Logic and rational thinking are not at the center of the decision-making process. And right now, when I'm looking in a bird's eye view at the boating market in general, everything that I see is rational, logic, and it's not working with what the clients will use to make their decisions. Okay? And one of the best piece of evidence of that also was the Dr. Antonio Damasio. So he has a patient named Elliot. It's actually an interesting story. He had a patient named Elliot, and Elliot had an accident, and the part of his brain that was responsible for the emotion was completely erased. So Elliot was a perfectly rational creature. And when Dr. Damasio was asking Elliot to take a decision, a rational decision, let's say, would you like to choose for this TV A or TV B? He couldn't make a decision based on just the rational part of his brain. Okay, and because he didn't have the emotional part of that brain, he couldn't even make a decision. Okay, so I'm going to help you today. I'm going to help you today and guide you on how you can leverage emotions to sell more boats in 2019, because this is so critical. So I love that US Defense Agency claims this advertiser's trick is as neurologically addictive as a hit of cocaine. So what is it? What is it? Well, let me tell you what is it. It's stories. We are addicted to stories in a very real sense. And research are proving it. I was reading a study from Reed Montag at Virginia Tech University and William Kasberg from the US Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, the DARPA. And what they realized, they analyzed how listening to a story affects the brain center, the parts that represent the things, like as sex or good food or drugs, for instance, and they realized that stories were activated actually the same area. So Kasberg conclusion, the researcher conclusion, he said, if if I were a betting man or woman, I would say that the certain type of story might be addictive and neurologically speaking, not that different from taking a hit of cocaine. That's what he said exactly. Simply put, strong stories are the key in our emotions making process. So what can you do to leverage it in boat sales? I want to show you an example. Example number one, version number one, just listed 1997 Sea Ray 330 Sundancer, twin Merc cruiser with Bravo 1 drive, sleep 5 plus full galley plus head and shower, owner motivated. Version number two, it's a perfect Friday afternoon. The sun is shining and the sea is flat. After a busy and stressful week at work, you quickly head home to get your wife and kids who are excited and ready to go to the marina to jump on your perfect family cruiser. Welcome home aboard your Sea Ray 330 Sundancer. Which one of the version is more appealing? Okay? Which one is drawing you more emotionally? So I want to give you 5 little tips that you can do with your clients to trigger their emotions that will help you significantly to sell more boats. Okay? And I want to remind you quickly why storytelling is so important. It will release dopamine. Okay? And every time we release dopamine, we experience an emotionally charged event. Okay? Also, the other things that story will bring, it will activate the part of the brain that helps a listener turn the story's idea into their own. So it's a perfect empathy tool. It's a perfect sales tool also. And finally, it will trigger the cortex activity. When processing fact, only 2 parts of the brain are activated, and scientists look at 5 parts of the brain are activated actually when processing stories. So it's much more rich in engagement. So what can you do with clients? I want to give you 4 little tips. Number 1, identify the story behind the boat. How you can do that? The boat name, for instance. Have you ever wondered sometime when you look at the boat names, there is always a story and a meaning behind it? Ask your clients. Okay? Ask the clients the reason why. Paint a cruising picture to the buyer. Ask them why they want to buy a boat, why they want to be on the water. Ask them their vision, their cruising plan. What's the most important thing in a boat for them? And when they tell you something, ask them why it's important for them. Okay? The key is to put them as a hero of the cruising story. It's not about the boat, it's about them. They're the hero. There is a wonderful book that you can get. It's called Story Brand by Don Miller. It's an amazing book on, it's one of the best marketing books I've ever read, and it will significantly help you in marketing. And number 4, ask the seller to share 2 or 3 stories of their best memories on board. And maybe you can relate to stories with potential buyers. So when you focus on those, you're really trying to focus on the emotion rather than the rational. That will give you so much more chances to sell the boat. And I'm so focused on that I'm actually currently writing a book called Sail the Cruise, Not the Ship. And this is what my sales methodology is also based on. Dialogue, and most precisely tuning towards the emotion rather than the rational. So this is very powerful. 2019 is going to be a changing year. In 2019, customers' BS detector are keeping improving. Personalization, intimacy will be game changer and bring you the best return on investment. Because buyers' behavior are changing and customers expect more, there is a great opportunity for you to make your listing stand out and make them more customer-oriented and emotionally engaging for the buyers. So use emotionally compelling photography, videography. Drone footage is great, for instance, to convey more emotions. Emotionally compelling customer-oriented copywriting. When you write your text about the boat, try to focus on emotion rather than too much focusing on the fact. Walkthrough video is great. Virtual tour are great. Okay, instead of just doing typical, maybe just photo gallery or brochures. Okay, that are more rational. Okay, so at the end of the day, emotion, not fact, sell. So focus on creating customer-oriented content, not product-oriented content. Another thing that is going to happen in 2019 is referrals will be more and more relevant. Forget social selling. You might have seen that on books, social selling. Social selling doesn't work anymore. People are tired of being exposed and pitched to thousands of commercial offers every day. I don't know you, but I don't go on social media to buy stuff. People, your customers, don't go on social media platform to buy. They go there to be entertained. They go there to be informed. They don't go there to see some price reduction in some boats. They don't go there to see some new CA. They don't go there to see some new specs on a boat. They go there to be entertained, to be informed, to see what their friends, what their acquaintances like and dislike. Customers are paying more attention for online reviews like Facebook review, Yelp, Amazon, Google review, and more becoming more public and easily shared across social channels. So in 2019, the winner will be the one leveraging what we call social referrals, because customers are paying more attention to what their friends like, don't like, and recommend. So social proof such as likes, testimonials, share will attract more businesses. Okay, so in 2019, the successful broker will be the one who adapts by listening to this conversation, by participating to this conversation, and also the one who asks for referrals to clients. An MIT university study reported that 91% of clients would give referrals, but only 11% of sales rep are actually asking for them. So it's a huge opportunity for you guys, okay? So trend number 2, emotion and referrals. You understand that. Now let's review trend number 3 together. This is so critical. Information. What do I mean by information? When it comes to listing boats and yachts, most brokers and brokerage show a minimum amount of information online. They might just think that a few photos, specs are enough to influence the buyers to make a major purchasing decision. Or they might just use a little bit of information as a bait to bring a potential clients on board maybe. But guess what? People are more demanding today. They don't want bait. They want a full meal served on the internet. The buyers of 2019 no longer tolerate this method of the past, and instead they expect a comprehensive listing from you. Large amount of information, both emotional and rational. Because guess what? With so many choices available to them, you'll simply lose them and they'll just go somewhere else. So you need to provide a lot of information. I'm going to share with you a case study in a couple minutes, but you'll be blown away. But you need to share as much information as you can. As I like to say, the more your listing tell, the more your listing sell. 2019 will be one of the last year what we call the static web, just photo and maybe video or just in text. More and more interactive content out there. You see that augmented reality, virtual reality, AI, video, walkthrough, this what will start to take over. So you need, if you're looking at your marketing, if your marketing is static, if you're not moving, something is wrong. And eventually your business might die. Okay? Because motion is what is going to help you survive in life. Whatever if you are in a plant, whatever if you are an animal, or whatever if you are a human. Let me give you an experience. Let me give you a quick thing. Yesterday I was reading something. There is this doctor, he went to Singapore and he went to this big a glass, green glass where there were a garden inside, and it was beautiful condition, perfect temperature, perfect soil, perfect lights, perfect everything, but the plants were surprisingly dying. And you look at it and you say, well, there is one thing that is going on. There is no motion. A plant, if there is no little bit of wind, a little bit of air, it's going to die. So what they did is they start to bring some fan inside the things. There were some air, but the air was not moving. So when they start to bring some motion, the plant's starting to survive. It's the same for birds. A bird can only survive because you see a worm moving in dirt. A shark can only survive if it keeps moving. Okay, so motion is the same for us. If there is no motion, if you keep static, you're going to have difficulties in 2019. So do you know the car company? Now I want to show you a very important case study. Sorry, there's a lot of noise here. Do you know the car companies that sell the largest amount of car in the USA? This is fascinating case study, so pay attention. And it's actually CarMax. So what makes them so successful? Why do customers buy at CarMax? CarMax have been the business around what we call information parity. CarMax, to give you an idea, they sold 500,000 vehicles each year, which is more than $14 billion in sales. Now, what's happening with CarMax? Okay. CarMax understood the fears that the clients have when they're buying a vehicle. They have uncertainty, and they want to remove that uncertainty. And how do they remove that uncertainty? Providing as much information as the customer wants. When you go buy a car at CarMax, they have a 325 points inspection. They have a free Carfax. They have free photo and video access on computers that are available in the showroom. If you go to the website, it disgorges of information. Okay? And that's why they are superior as any other car dealership in the United States. Because when you go to another car dealership, you don't know if you're going to buy a lemon. You don't know what's happening in the car. You don't know the history. You don't know if it's a good car. But when you go to CarMax, you know everything. First of all, you know the price, because the price you see at CarMax is the price you pay. Okay? You know, you have access to all the inspection, you have access to a free Carfax, and they're extremely transparent. And the perfect representation of what we call this information parity is when you sit down at the desk at CarMax with a sales representative, the screen for the computer is actually in the middle in the perfect asymmetry, in the middle of the table, that you can see. It's not facing against you. So it's a perfect representation of the information parity. Okay, so I'd like to show in that slides, before CarMax or other car dealerships, the seller holds all the information and the buyers have uncertainties. They don't know very much. CarMax model, the seller knows as much information as the buyer. Okay, because the asymmetrical information creates headache for the buyers. That creates suspicion. That's why they're not going to buy the vehicle. For that reason, you need to provide as much information you have on the boat. So I give you an example. For our listings, we ask for the maintenance record, we ask for insurance quote, we ask for operational cost of the boat, we ask for previous survey, we do a full walkthrough video, as much information as possible. We prepare that in advance and we provide that to the buyers. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that again. The more your listing tells, the more it will sell. Now, one of my favorites, one of the biggest changes here that's going on, and this one of the most controversial also, because usually selling boats has been something that we have done on an individual basis, but now it's becoming more of a team organization. And I call that it takes a team. The effort, energy, and number of skills required to successfully sell a boat or a yacht while meeting the seller's expectation that are growing can no longer be sufficiently satisfied by an individual lone wolf broker. We just looked at it. The market has progressed. Buyers are more educated. They are more demanding. They have higher expectations. And that's why there need to be a shift towards brokers working in team. And if you look at it right now, the most highly respected brokerage in the world are run by teams in order to effectively market and sell yacht. I mean, let's have a look at it. What are the teams require? What are the skills required today to sell a boat? Drone piloting, video and photo taking and editing, virtual tour capturing and editing, organic and paid social media marketing, email marketing, copywriting, SEO, Google AdWords, lead management and follow-up, blogging, multi-channel prospecting, content creation, multiple listing sites, and more. Now, don't worry, you don't need to learn how to do that. You just need to understand that if you want to be effective selling boat, you need to work in a team dynamic. You can hire some freelancers. Maybe they're working in Asia and they are having very good rate for you, but you need to work with them. You cannot do everything on your own. Okay? Because the future of boat sales won't be about individual broker and sales. It will be about working as a team, and it will be also about marketing, not just about sales. So in 2019, the brokers will need to outsource, to collaborate, and to use a team of savvy online marketers, because it's impossible to master all the skills on their own. Or if you do it on your own, you might just do what? Boat in a listing in a bottle marketing, as we saw earlier in the first story. Okay? So traditional lone wolf broker against a super profitable brokerage team. Now here's the good news. As I say, you don't need to understand how everything on this list. Just work on the team. Cooperate with some people that understand marketing. Cooperate with different brokers in your team, with some people that have different skills. If your friend is good at piloting the drone and you're good at doing video, you guys can work together. But it's going to be more and more challenging to do everything on your own, and pretty much impossible. So don't try to tackle everything on your own. Okay? Number 5. Authority and personal online presence are critical. And to put you a photo, I just put one that I posted yesterday. I posted that from Düsseldorf Boat Show. I got over 100 likes, and I got 2 leads from people contacted me, say, hey, I need help buying boats. Just coming out of nowhere in the social media, in the free Facebook. Okay, so in 2019, self-promotion is no longer optional. I know a lot of you are going to tell me, but I don't like social media. I hate social media. I don't want to share a picture of myself, my family, my kids, and this and that. I want to respect my privacy. Well, let me break a news from you. You're recorded every single day by over 110 CCTV wherever you work, either in Europe, and it's even more in America. So if you don't like privacy, maybe just buy yourself a little house in a private island. But if you want to sell, or maybe change job, because if you want to sell boats, you need social media. Self-promotion is no longer optional in 2019 and beyond. Therefore, brokers must become comfortable using social media, blogs, video, and other technology to promote their services and presence. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for your clients. You're doing it for your listings. You're doing it for your family, right? Because you're going to bring bread on the table. So content and social conversation are king. And brokers who can create and manage a social following, it can be a fan page, it can be a personal page, a blog, a video blog, they will have a significant advantage moving forward. It will be also very useful for you in the unlikely event that you will maybe decide to change firm if you're not happy. At least you bring your followers with you, and it will be easier to restart. Okay? Additionally, it's not just about social media, it's also the different way to communicating with social media. Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, LinkedIn message. Okay? social messaging app are no longer optional in 2019. When I started WhatsApp, I didn't like it. I was like, why do I need to use WhatsApp? I send text message and email. But guess what? As of today, it's a fantastic business vehicle. Okay, so publishing video and content will become a daily marketing activity. I would rather have a coffee when I'm at the Düsseldorf Boat Show instead of doing a live video. I'm not that comfortable doing live video, but I'm forcing myself. Okay, just like you should force yourself to. When you have a listing, you should force yourself to do a walkthrough video. So whether you like it or not, whether you like the camera or not, whether you think you're good or not in front of the camera, unfortunately, you have no choice. As I like to say, if you're not scared or uncomfortable, you should write that down. If you are not scared or uncomfortable improving your boat sales, you are doing something wrong. I'm going to repeat that for you. If you're not scared or uncomfortable improving your boat sales, you are doing something wrong. Now I want to share a method with you that I've implemented this year and that really helped me significantly. It's called the ROI method. And it will help you to develop that social media presence that all of you need to grow and develop, but doing it in the right way. So what does that stand for? The ROI method. R stands for relevancy, O stands for omnipresence, and I stand for intimacy. So let me go a little bit deeper. I didn't invent that method. I found it from an entrepreneur. I think his name is Scott Alford, but I loved it and I decided to apply it for Yes Sales Academy, for myself, and to share it with my clients. So relevancy, let's start with the R. Relevancy is to ensure that you have the right message to begin with. Okay, let me give you an example. I work in the boating industry and I'm trying to build an audience in the business to business community in the boating industry, boat sales professionals. So I decided that I wanted to talk about values and things that are interested for boat sales professional in the boating industry. I don't talk about golden retriever on my social media. Okay, I don't talk about smoking cigars. I just I identify some things that I believe that the people in the industry will like, and I keep sharing those things with them. So for instance, for me, I talk about boating, I talk about boat sales, I talk about entrepreneurship, I talk about travel, and I talk about family. Those are 5 things that I like to share with people. And I'm consistent with those 5 things. I don't step out of those 5 things. I don't talk about religion, politics, the Gilets jaunes in France, or whatever is happening around the world. Okay? I'm trying to stay consistent with my audience. The second thing is positioning within relevancy. Trying to differentiate yourself. My differentiation, for instance, for myself is I want to be the sales and marketing trainer in the boating industry. That's my positioning. Okay, for yourself, you can be you are the charter person in south of France, or you are the trawler specialist in the west coast of California, or the boating specialist in Texas, or the fishing yacht specialist in Japan, or the racing boat specialist in Dubai. Find your positioning and also your offer. Okay, make sure to have attractive offer when you present a listing. Don't just present some rational information. Try to incorporate a little bit of emotional information to attract people to look at your offers. Or when you make an offer, make it easy for people to look at the offer. Give them some steps. Okay, that's for relevancy. O stands for omnipresence. What means omnipresence? You need to be on all the different social channels. Not all of them, but choose 3 or 4 and do them well. Don't just be on Facebook, because your clients are not just on Facebook. They'll be on Facebook, they'll be on Instagram, they'll be on LinkedIn, they'll be on maybe Twitter and YouTube. Okay, so omnipresence is about the timing. Don't just post in the middle of the night. It's about the frequency. Don't just post once a month. Try to post daily or maybe 2 times a week. And it's about platform. Okay? Try to post on different platforms. And what's I? I stand for intimacy. What's the goal of posting on social media? Is to generate connection, generate conversation, one-on-one conversation. A lot of you contact me very often on personal message on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Every day I spend 5 minutes wishing happy birthday to maybe 10, 15 of my contact on Facebook, on LinkedIn, because I want to engage with them. I want to have some one-on-one conversation. Okay, that's a goal. And also intimacy stands for community. Maybe you can create your own community. It can be an email list, as I say, it can be your blog, your social channel, it can be a group or a fan page. Okay, so when you follow that ROI method in social media, it will avoid you to make mistakes. It will avoid you to go too much all in one channel, or not being relevant, or not being personal, or not building a community. Okay? So very, very powerful method for following social media. So what's the important lesson we've learned today? There is a famous criminal named Willie Sutton, and he was once asked, why you rob banks? And his response was eloquent, simple, and humorous. And he looked at the judge and he said, that's where the money is. Now, if you want to find prospects in 2019, you have to go where the prospects are. You have to be willing to adapt and leverage strengths. You have to be visible on social media. You have to use referrals. You have to use social platforms. You have to provide them with a lot of information because they want more information. You have to focus on emotions because you're tired of the 3,000 to 10,000 commercial message every day, which is very analytical. Sometimes they want to be touched. Sometimes they want to hear a story. They want to be connected emotionally. Okay? And those are the things we reviewed together in those 5 trends. Now I have some good news for you. Is that the professional brokers will be more relevant than ever before. As you see, the market is so complex. It's a landmine for the clients. I'm here in Düsseldorf, it's so overwhelming. There's so many shipyards. Just in the United States, I think there's over 1,150 shipyards. So how, as an individual owner, you trying to buy a boat on your own? They need your help. Your job is relevant. Clients need you. They need you to buy, and they need you to sell, and they need you to charter the boats because it's too overwhelming on their own. But they also need you to adapt. And that's your responsibility to adapt. Otherwise, the 10% commission or whatever commission structures there is currently in place is not sustainable anymore if you keep doing things all the way. You need to adapt. Okay? Because we are very grateful and fortunate to have that commission structure in the boating industry. I mean, if you look at it in real estate, it's so much lower. So it's our responsibility as sales professional to work hard and to adapt, to use the new technology and to use the new trends to serve our clients to the better of our ability and to deserve the money that they are giving us in exchange for the service that we provide. Now there is also bad news. And the bad news is that the gap between the top performing brokers and the rest of the brokers will widen exponentially. And the large number of brokers who fail to adapt to these new trends that I'm talking today, the brokers that are too shy to be on social media, the brokers that want to have their private life and not be on social media, the brokers that don't want to adapt, that don't want to work as a team, that don't want to use emotion, that don't want to provide a lot of information, those brokers are going to be wiped out. Just like the taxi were wiped out by Uber, just like Blockbuster was wiped out by Netflix, just like Sears was wiped out by Amazon, just like some hotels were wiped out by Airbnb. Because the boat selling business will rapidly transform. There will be no mercy for those who fail to adapt and are not adapting to this new market. And that's why I'm very grateful you're on this webinar today, because you're one of the few that decided to invest in yourself and to say, hey, I need to hurry up, I need to wake up, I need to adapt. Because to be honest, I forecast a literal extension of the average boat broker. And I mean a mass extinction. And how I was predicting this prophecy, I recently announced in Yacht Sales Academy that I stopped selling courses to brokers. And I wanted to just focus on what? On the top 7%. I want to adapt to the people that adapt to the strengths. Okay? So, yes, it's a wake-up call. And I would like you to be in the top 7%. So now we are ending our webinar. You might probably think, well, now it's a time that Vincent is going to sell us something or give us an offer. Actually, I don't have anything to sell. As I told you a few weeks ago, I decided to stop selling courses to the mass and just focus on the top 7% boat broker. So I would like to invite, if maybe you own a brokerage firm that is doing some serious business already, I want to invite you to contact me if you're really motivated to bring your business forward. If you're currently as a top 7% broker and want to improve your game, I would love to work with you. Now, if you're not in the top 7%, but would love to be, and motivation is just not enough, you have to be obsessed to become to the top, I might be able to work with you if you have the right mindset, if you have also a budget, so if you're willing to invest in yourself, and also a willingness to put in the time and effort, then I invite you also to contact me. So if you are interested, here is how I work. You can schedule a 15-minute call with me in the links that you see here. It's very simple. We're going to chat for 10-15 minutes. I explain you my working process. We'll find out if we could be a fit working together, and then you can decide if you want to move forward or no. It's very simple. Okay? You'll see if you're a good fit and you love the process. And simply why I'm doing that, because I won't work with you if I don't know your business and if I'm not sure that I can help you 100% to be in the top 7%. Okay? So go to bit.ly/top7broker and you'll find a link where you can schedule a call with me. And that's now the end of our actual presentation. So I would like to open some more time for some questions. I'm very excited. Steve says that our audio is cutting out. Okay, thanks Maureen for sharing information. So Dominic say, I want to work with you. That's fantastic. Thanks, that's very kind. That's very nice. So if you want to work with us, as I said, you just click on the link, schedule a 15-minute call with me, and I'll explain to you the process. And that'll be fantastic. So let's have a discussion about the top 5 trends that we had today. Any question in regards to the trends that we had, and anything specifics that you're already doing, that you're not doing but planning on doing, or any success that you had already with the trend that I mentioned. I would love to. So we have Peter here. Thank you, Vincent. Very interesting. We'll call you next week when you're back in Canada. Certainly. I will be coming to the Miami Boat Show also. So I'm going to Seattle Boat Show after that, and I will go to the Miami Boat Show also. So thanks, Trevor. Always good to hear from you. I have to schedule a call with you also, so we'll talk very soon. Jonathan, thanks. So any question in regards to the 5 trends today? And I know some of the things that I shared are not necessarily making you happy, make you a little bit uncomfortable, but that's exactly, unfortunately, what we have to do if we want to be successful. Is you might have heard that there is no the magic only happen outside of your comfort zone. So Rick say, Thanks, Vincent. Great idea. Dennis asks, how do you specifically gain more Facebook friends, clients? That's a great questions. How do? You follow the ROI method. You start posting regularly relevant content. You invite people to come on Facebook. Maybe you can share a little group on Facebook. You can start a little group on Facebook like I did. I started my group like maybe a year ago, and now we are already, I think, 1,100 both sales professional. I couldn't have done that with clients, right? So Angelique said the new book. Oh, thank you so much, Angelique. I hope that you guys are doing well. Great to hear from you. So the book is being finished now, so it's not published yet, but I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks, Rudy. Always good to have you in our webinar. I really appreciate your consistency in educating yourself. So that's fantastic. If you also have a question, you feel free to email me at vincent@yahtsacademy.com. So I hope I didn't go too fast today. I know it was a lot to share with you with all those trends, but I spent a lot of time writing this article and selecting those 5 trends because I really believe that those are the things that can yield you the best results for the upcoming year. So really, maybe I will send you the replay, watch the webinar again, watch the slides that I will send you. I will send you the slide and really incorporate that into your marketing strategies and your personal strategies this year. I want to see you guys more active. There is no being embarrassed about WhatsApp, Angelique, but it's an excellent business vehicle. More and more people are using it. I was a little bit reticent using it. I think I started using it two years ago, and I really didn't like it. But now I realize how powerful it is, and yeah. Okay, so Andrew asked me if I use Facebook more than LinkedIn. I would say equally, a little bit more Facebook because I post my family stuff, which I don't post in LinkedIn. But every time I try to post something on Facebook, I also try to post it on LinkedIn. Everything you see usually that comes from me, except during boat show, is pre-planned up to 1 year in advance. So it took me a lot of time to do that. But actually, if you see a quote from me, it's something that I planned it maybe 10 months in advance. So the way I do it very simple is that I start to do 30 days. So I do a social media planning for 30 days. Then every month I do my social media planning, and I do that for 10 months. And once I'm done after 10 months, I start to re-upload the same more and less content that I uploaded 10 months ago. So, and I try to always find out, remove some things that didn't have much engagement and increase the things that need more engagement. So you don't want to waste time in social media. You want social media to work for you, not you to work on social media. That's really the key. Yes, Leilani said about WhatsApp. WhatsApp is fantastic for international call with clients. So if we don't have any more question, I will invite you to contact me by email if you want, vincent@yahtsacademy.com. You can also contact me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. And if you are interested to work together or just simply want to learn on how we could work together, just book a time on the link that I provided you. Steven, yes, I did use Snapchat, but I realized that it wasn't for me. It wasn't also for too much what I was doing with boat sales professionals, even boating industry from what I experienced. So I stopped using it, and now I just focus on Instagram. Actually, I started Instagram maybe, I would say maybe 4 or 5 months ago. and the growth has been phenomenal. I regret not having started earlier because it's a fantastic social platform. Yes, Alex, so the webinar is available to watch again. LinkedIn, I found it very good. There's a lot of activity in the boating industry for LinkedIn. So I like Paul. Yeah. Do you find to get negative comments when promoting listings on LinkedIn? Sometimes people say LinkedIn is not great list. I don't have too many negative comments, luckily, but even once I have some, if one time I have a negative comment, I just delete and block the person, and I don't have time to respond to negative comments. I mean, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have 3 business. I have a wife. I have 2 kids, and I don't want to spend my day responding to negative comments. That's people's choice. That's my choice. That's really what I would recommend. As soon as you see something negative in Facebook, don't even try to argue. It's you know, just delete and block the person or remove the person, whatever. And yeah. Hi, Gren with Green Line. Do not understand the new technology in self-sustaining yacht. Would like some feedback. Sorry, I don't really understand this question. Maybe if you want to email it to me with more details. I really like what you guys have been doing at Greenline, especially at the Düsseldorf Boat Show. You have a very nice setup with a lot of boats. Seems like you guys have been growing significantly. The Neo, the new line, is quite nice. So yes, I like this type of boating, and yeah, I think it's very good. Also, not to adapt the way you market, but the products. So. Excellent. Well, I wanted to thanks everyone for today's webinar. I will let you go back to your work or family or hobby, whatever you want to do after the webinar. But thanks again, everybody. It was a real pleasure for me to have you during this live webinar today. And I look forward to hearing back from you, and have a great day, everyone. Talk soon. Bye-bye.